Hello and welcome to today's class. We're going to explain a little bit about present simple and present continuous. Today we are going to work on contrast. Let's start reviewing the structure of the present simple. If you remember, we have two options in the present simple. If the subject is I, you, we, they, then we use the subject and the verb with no changes and the complements. For example, I play tennis. When the subject is he, she, it, as you know, we have to add an S to the verb. He plays tennis. In the first case, with I, you, we, they, we use don't as an auxiliary for the negative, whereas with he, she, it, we use doesn't. And it happens the same with interrogative. Do at the beginning of the sentence for I, you, we, they, and does for he, she, it. Then, as you know, we always answer with the same auxiliary that we ask the question. So for subjects I, you, we, they, the answer would be with do and don't. And for he, she, it, it will be does and doesn't. Now, adding an S to a verb conveys some certain changes in spelling. For which changes? First, verbs ending in O, S, CH, SH, X add ES. For example, goes, kisses, watches, washes, mixes. And then verbs ending in consonant plus Y, such as study, for example, change with the Y to an I, and then they add ES. It's a case of studies, cries, tries, flies. I'm sure you remember that pretty well. And then the use. When do we use the present simple? Well, we use the present simple to talk about routines and habits. She goes to school on Mondays. We use it to make description. He's tall. Always referring to states, describing characteristics that are not temporal. For likes and dislikes, we love English, for example, for timetables. Timetables are events that are repeated once and again. So I study maths on Monday, for example. And for facts that do not change. The sun rises in the east, for instance. Then as for the present continuous, remember that we have to use the verb to be with the ing. So we have three different instances. If the subject is I, then I will be using am. I am studying. For he, she, it, I will be using his. He is listening. For we, you, they, we are going to use are. We are playing. In these cases, the auxiliary am, is, are, is continues in the negative. So I am not, isn't, aren't, right? And then in the interrogative, those auxiliaries that verb to be will be before the subject. Am I waiting? Is it raining? Are they crying? As I said before, when we answer a question, a yes no question, we have to use the auxiliary that was used in the answer. So if the subject is I, yes I am, no I'm not. If the subject is either he, she, it, yes, he, she, it is, no, with isn't. And then in the case of we, you, they, it's the same, but with are and aren't. Now, as we add an ing to the verb, we of course have changes in spelling. So, what are the changes in spelling when we add ing? Well, the most common, the one that we usually forget, is that our verbs ending in stressed consonant, vowel, consonant double the last consonant. That is the case, for example, of stop, run, and begin. If you pay attention to the verbs, the three of them end consonant, vowel, consonant, and the three of them end with a stressed syllable. Stop is a monosyllable, so it's the stress syllable itself, stopping. That happens the same with run. But then begin has two syllables, but the stress one is begin, gin, right? So we have to double the n. It doesn't happen with visit, happen, and listen. The three of them end with consonant vowel consonant, sit, pen, en, ten. But the stress consonant, the stress syllable is not the last one. It's not the one that we are attaching the ing to. It's the first one. Visit, happen, listen. So that is why in these instances we don't double the last consonant, right? So the second important um the second important thing that you have to bear in mind with spelling when adding ing is that verbs ending in consonant plus y remain the same. We have seen in the present simple that when we have a consonant and a y, then we change the y into an I. This usually makes students confused when adding ing, and they tend to either either omit the y or change it. Well, it doesn't happen with the ing. We just maintain the I, right? Studying, crying, triumph, dying. Now, how about the use? When do we use the present continuous? We use it for actions happening now. I am watching a video. It means that the action has started and you are developing it. With unfinished actions, it's basically the same. It's an action you have started but have not finished. The difference between actions happening now and unfinished actions is that with actions happening now is an action that you are actually developing right now. Unfinished actions means that you have started the action but not finished it. It doesn't necessarily imply that you are doing it right now. So I am reading an interesting book does not mean that I am actually reading it right now. It means I've started it but not finished. Also, as we saw in the first unit with future actions, next Monday I am having a party. When I have a future planned action, I have to use the present continuous. And also with exceptions to routine. If I have a routine every day, for example, I wake up early every day, but today it is an exception, I'm going to do something different, then I have to use the present continuous just to mark that difference. That is not an action that I'm doing that is developing now or that is unfinished. It is an action that is exceptional. So for example, in the example I have used, I wake up early every day, but today I am waking up at 10 a.m. because I am a holiday, right? So that is an exception to routine. So with the present continuous, there are certain adverbs that will show me that the action is happening now or that it has not finished. For example, now, right now, today. This plus time, this year, this week. Next plus time, next Monday, next day. And future time references. For example, on Monday, in April, etc. With the present simple, I will also use certain adverbs. I have a video on that, but I will explain them briefly now. Contrasting present simple and present continuous concerning structure, you have to take into account that with the present simple, you use the S with he, she, it, and the auxiliaries are do and does. Whereas with the present continuous, you need to use the verb to be, am, is, are, and the verb with ing. Remember, the present continuous, it's like your glasses, like your shoes. It's a pair. You cannot use one without the other. The present simple is used mainly, basically, for habits, whereas the present continuous is used for actions you're doing now, unfinished, or for the future. You will have noticed that I have not said that present simple is used for the future, but we have explained that in class. Well, that's because habits and routines and schedules are basically the same. That is why we use the present simple with the future sense with timetables, with schedules, because they are repeated once and again in time, like just like habits or routines. So the adverbs I will use with the present simple are basically frequency adverbs that tell me how often do I do the action, right? How often does that event happen. For example, always, often, never. Also, with the days of the week, adding an S at the end, for example, on Mondays or at weekends with an S at the end as well. Once or twice once or twice a month, twice a week, once a day, right? Because it gives us again the frequency. Remember that from 3 times on, I will always use 3 times a, 4 times a, right? Every day, and also some verbs like love, hate, like, have, right? These verbs, we will see later on that they are stative verbs, but that will be in another video. As for the present continuous, as we have seen previously, we will use adverbs that show me that the action is taking place right now or that is unfinished. Now, right now, today, this, plus time, next, plus time, etc. Now, let's do a little bit of practice. Try and complete these sentences with the present simple or the present continuous. We will see you in class. Hope it helped. Bye.